This week I'm going to explain cross-hatching and why you should use this technique when sculpting in clay. Cross-hatching isn't used just for creating texture. There actually is a method to this and a reason for using this technique. First, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, because I'm putting out a new video every week for the foreseeable future. So when I use cross-hatching, it's not about texture, it's about the surface. You see this rough surface here? Well, that's going to happen even if you try to smooth out the clay as much as you can while it's hot. And when I say hot, I mean it's really easy to move around. This tool with the grooves is what I normally use, but there's also another tool like this, which will create a rougher, more dirty texture in the clay because it leaves all these little pieces. So I don't usually use this, but if you really need to get in there in hard clay, this will definitely soften up that surface to make it easier to work with. But this is the tool I'll stick with today. You can see how it creates a really nice, even, smooth surface on the clay. I can clean all that up really easily with that tool because sometimes you'll have shaving pieces that will fall over on the surface of the clay. So the trick is filling in all those little cracks and smoothing out the bumps. A good sculpture will have more of a uniform surface, unless of course you're trying to do some special texture. But for a piece that has a smooth surface in the clay like this, it's really difficult to get all those bumps and smears smoothed out from when the clay was softer. Because once it gets hard at room temperature, it really is difficult to work with. So you can see how this tool uses those grooves to just cut through the clay. Then I use little pieces and fill in those divots and small holes in the clay. Then I go back over them and I'll kind of carve a little bit harder over some of those bumps to smooth them out. Think of it like bulldozing a field to get it ready for planting. If you're a farmer and you got all these bumps and rocks in the field, you need to plow the field so that it has a nice even surface that you can just coast across. And this rake is sort of like our tractor, or our plow I should say. And then I go back in and fill in all the small divots, as I said earlier. Takes a while, but doing this consistently will really smooth out that clay surface. Some of you might have already used cross-hatching, but a lot of people probably don't know why you would want to do this when you sculpt. Because when you draw, the cross-hatching gives like sort of that texture or shadow effect, different lights and darks. Not the case here with sculpture. This is a three-dimensional process here. We are doing this to actually alter the whole shape of the sculpture itself. And see, it's really easily smoothed out. I just use my hand and brush over it. It's kind of hard to tell from this view in the camera angle, but I'll move the camera here in a second to see if you guys can get a better look. The last tip I'll give concerning cross-hatching is that you should use those grooves to look for those marks, because you can kind of control everything by thinking it as a diagram. Watch the direction of the grooves and decide which part needs to be flattened out next. You can see here how bumpy that clay is. No matter what you do, it's going to be really rough. Even if you smooth it out inch by inch, it's going to be rough and have bumps all over it. So this cross-hatching will definitely be the trick to get in there and carve it away and smooth it out. Don't forget to hit that like button if you like this video, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Check out my website for more information. I will see you all next week.